Just waiting for the teammates to answer.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that Lisa had to step out for 2 seconds. So other than that, for the rest of us, for me, it's probably the moment where last year in my own Calgary Hacks Hackathon, I managed to go and get second place. And because of that, Cisco was also a sponsor over there. And guess where I'm doing my internship now?
That is
so
awesome.
Honestly, that's like the coolest moment that ever defined my life. And I'm going to come back to a story about that later because I think there's also a hilarious moment where I got hacked during that hackathon. But I'll come back to that later. Spoiler.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah. For me, it's probably again related to the internship, but in my case, it's more about like my side projects on my GitHub. I'm really, really proud of like showing off different side projects that I do. For example, I do like Game Boy development, even stuff that's not like directly in the field of like my work. I'm really proud about showing that stuff off, even like goofy scripts or mods for games I've made with my friends. It's all awesome, and I love to do it and share it.
Yeah,
open source.
We would love to have a look if you want to share your screen and do that.
Oh,
We'll put you right on the spot.
No,
it's all right.
If you want.
Yeah, we can do it later.
Yeah,
sure.
we can do it later. Yeah.
All right, and you mentioned that I think Lisa dipped out for a moment. Okay.
I'm back.
Oh, awesome. Welcome, Lisa. What is your greatest achievement? We'll just put you right on the spot.
Well, I'd say for like within work and with Cisco, I actually used to be a dental hygienist, and now I've been with Cisco for 6 years. So that big career move was a big achievement for me because it's this job is much more aligned than working as a dental hygienist. So yeah, that's probably one. And then also being able to I went to Prague for two years working with another Cisco company, or sorry, another Cisco team, like engineering team. So that was a big accomplishment as well. So yeah.
May I ask how you ended up like segueing from dental hygiene into working at Cisco? That sounds really interesting.
Yeah, it was a big jump for sure. But I actually, my roommate was a program manager for Cisco. And at the time, because the group that we worked for was an acquisition, so they didn't have really anybody as an office manager in Calgary at the time. And she had come on as a program manager and had just said, oh, we're looking kind of for like an office manager kind of thing. And I mean, with dental, there's a lot of skills that you can transfer over, like management of just general office management. It was just a totally different group of people essentially. So yeah, that's how I got in. And then Cisco's great because they have a lot of opportunities for you to upskill. So like I took my project management designation last year, and yeah, so I've just kind of grown within the company that way, which has been great, right? Because a lot of times you don't know what you want to do. Like I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and that's why I went into dental hygiene. But this is a great way because I was able to take the courses that I actually need to do the job well. So it was a really great experience. It has been a really great experience for sure.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, moving on. What is your favorite piece of media? Anything?
Do we want to do a quick introduction of like?
You know what?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. I was thinking like, hey, let's go straight into the interesting questions. But yeah, why don't we hear from? Let's see, starting with Richard. Let's hear you. You're closest to my profile picture.
Nice. So. Okay. I'm an intern. I am doing software engineering and doing a dual degree of business at the University of Calgary. So that means I did 4 years of school so far, doing an internship right now for 16 months with Cisco. And then I'll be going back to school to do another couple of years to go finish off. Inside Cisco, I go and work on, with these lovely folks every single day on the data team. And data team is part of our AMP security products, which is anti-malware effectively. And then that's part of the larger Cisco ecosystem. Within my team specifically, I'm a QA engineer, so I basically go and write the test code, and I go and try to make other people's code show off all the bugs inside it. Basically, that's my job. Yeah,
I don't need to be a QA engineer to mess up other people's code. That's for sure.
Too relatable.
All right, and now let's hear from Lucas.
Okay, so similarly, I'm an intern on the data team. But whereas Richard is QA, I am dev. So he's the one critiquing me. So yeah. Personally, he's from University of Calgary. I'm from UBCO here. I am third year or fourth year computer science. Again, it's a little fuzzy. But yeah, it's been really awesome working with Maxine and Richard on the data team. It's been an absolute blast. And I'm doing an internship for 16 months, and I'll be back doing my fourth year in September of this year.
Cool. Awesome. All right, and let's hear from Maxine.
Hi, everybody. My name is Maxine. I'm an engineering lead at Cisco for the day team, to be precise. So we handle all of the high volume data that comes into our AMP group, and we do all of the processing and storage of said data. It's a lot more interesting than it sounds because we're dealing with extremely high volume data, which makes it a fun engineering question. My background's more on the dev side. I did do an internship. Actually, I did 2 internship programs myself when I was in university, and I'm from UFA, Edmonton, so we've got everybody here. My first internship was working as automation QA, actually. I did a lot of performance testing. And my second internship was with Intuit, and it was for a dev internship. And well, now I'm here and I'm trying to build out a really good internship program because, you know, it's like I've been through some good internship, been through a bad one. So trying to make something good for the students now.
I could say this is a pretty good one so far.
I know, I really appreciate it.
And just to mention that Maxine is also one of our BC Hacks judges. So there's that.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Of course, always, Maxine. It's always a pleasure. And last but not least, Lisa.
Yeah, hi everybody. Like I said, I've worked for Cisco now for 6 years within the business operations side of things. So I run a lot of the initiatives, and one of them being our global intern program. Right now, I'm working across all of our security business group, like Maxine said, to create a really good experience for our interns, especially now with the pandemic. We want to make sure that people still feel included, as we're not in offices now. So they've actually built out a really great virtual intern program that we're hoping to get more involved with this year. So yeah, so I do a lot of different initiatives like that and work with the recruiters and the university hiring teams within Cisco, among other things as well. I mean, budget and that sort of thing, and also running like our people and culture pillar. So all kinds of different initiatives come out of that as well. So that's a bit about me.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, I think that's everyone. So moving on, what's your favorite hobby / pastime when you're not coding cool stuff?
Who are you throwing that question to first?
I'll just keep doing the same order. Richard.
All right, sounds good. Favorite hobby / pastime. I do enjoy my road biking a lot. So wintertime makes that extremely difficult for you guys in BC. You guys are lucky that it's actually warmer. It's rainy, but over here we have snow instead. So I basically get this nice little 4-month window called our entire summertime that I actually get to go and do biking. But I love cycling around inside the city. It varies a lot. Sometimes I go like 10 kilometers. Sometimes I do an entire 50 and then regret it the next day. Yeah, it's just something I really enjoy doing.
Super cool. I love biking myself, so I understand your pain of not being able to bike when it snows. Like right now in Kelowna, there was just a bunch of snow this past week, so it's a bit of a pain. But yeah, I mean, but then it's going to immediately melt because that's just how it works here. All right, Lucas, what are you enjoying doing when you're not making Game Boy projects?
Yeah, I was gonna say that was gonna be my answer, was outside of work.
Gotcha.
But outside of coding entirely, I really like hiking and doing film photography. A little bit more low-tech stuff is always a decent palate cleanser.
Yeah, that's really cool, because even I, like, besides coding and stuff, I also enjoy like photo editing and video editing. That's actually really fun and gives you like a small break from all the fixing bugs and all the fun stuff.
Yes.
Get those creative juices flowing. So yeah, definitely get what you're saying.
All right, Maxine, what do you like doing when you're not working on lots of data?
So I have a confession to make. When I'm not in front of my computer for work, I'm in front of the computer.
Oh my God, are you me? That's what I do.
I think I mostly play video games in my spare time.
Yes. What have you been playing lately?
I'm also in school right now, so not so much right now, but during the winter break, I did finish Cyberpunk.
Oh, nice. Did you enjoy it?
Yes. I played on
not
PC,
played it yet.
so I didn't have any issues with bugs.
Oh yeah, I've read a lot about the PS4 struggles with that game. Yeah, I just play a lot of Apex Legends. That's what I've been playing lately. Like an unholy amount of that game.
Respect.
That's when I'm not organizing hackathons.
Yes.
Lisa, what do you like doing?
I'm with you on the hiking and biking for sure. I'm located in Vancouver too, so it's
Fellow BC resident.
Year round, which is nice.
Awesome.
Everyone is a little bit outdoorsy except me.
And then there's me as well. I'm just a hermit basically.
Yeah, I just sit in my chair basically. That's all I do. Oh, I also dance. I also dance, but that happens in my room. So there's that.
Currently,
Awesome.
I am a hermit as well, but normally I like to be outside.
Of course.
Especially with the winter time, I think it's too easy to become a hermit these days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, with the the global pandemic going on too, that kind of makes things a little tricky as well.
Definitely.
I've been training for that for the last 4 years.
Exactly. I mean, I'll be honest, my lifestyle didn't change all that much when the pandemic started. I was just like, wow, okay, I'll just do what I normally do. Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
That's actually really true. Like I was very sad and bummed out, but I don't really do a lot of new things anymore or like used to do anything much different. So that's very true.
Gave me an
Awesome.
excuse to play more games.
Oh yeah, definitely. Cool. So I would love to segue into the meat of this talk and just ask you guys some questions about Cisco and about the industry as a whole. So first, I just wanted to hear, I guess, whoever feels the most qualified for this, describe what you guys work on. I assume, Maxine, probably you would know the best.
Or is it quiz time?
Time. Yes. What do you work on? What do you do on a daily basis now?
What do I work on? Do I work? Okay, well, all right, I'm on the spot here. So yeah, basically, as I mentioned before, we are the security, we basically are working on the security products here. So that product is called AMP, and it's actually part of an ecosystem of like 5 other security products all bundled in within Cisco. And these security products mostly are designed for businesses, and it becomes a really big challenge because when cybersecurity is extremely expensive because malware is extremely expensive. And if a business goes down, holy smokes, that costs a ton of money and a ton of resources and makes everything fall behind. So it's very important to us that we catch every single virus, malware, or everything coming in. And it's a twofold job. It's not only just simply catching it, but it's also when the eventual breach does come in, because face it, we're not perfect. When it does come in, how do you detect it? How far has it damaged? And how do you contain that damage into as small a space as possible? So it becomes a lot of different steps. And so drilling down from inside there, we are specifically called data team. And as Maxine mentioned, we are basically the plumbing, the pipelines that get stuff from point A to point B. We're not the actual people who investigate the virus files. We have other AI teams responsible for that. Instead, our job is to go and say that we are a cloud-based company. So we got millions, or actually, I think in the order of magnitudes of terabytes of data coming in like at an absolute fire hose punishing you. And you have to be able to grab this data and you have to go and get it across everywhere as fast as possible. For those of you familiar with databases, if you ever tried like fetching 1,000 lines from your database all at once, it's not bad. It's a little bit slow, but if you have to go and fetch, I don't know, maybe several million entries all at the same time, you got new logistical challenges here. And that's what our team is really responsible for handling. So Lucas is on the stream team, which is responsible for getting that data from the computers into our databases. And I'm part of search team, which gets it back out when company owners are trying to look around figure out what's going on and try to go and search up, hey, where has this virus come from? Where has this infection come from? Where did this file interact? That's basically my end of the story.
Yeah, I can add a little bit more on top of that. So I really want to emphasize that our anti-malware platform is really cloud-based. So kind of the way our model works is that we have a lightweight connector on the actual endpoints, we call them, or the business's computers. And what those connectors do is they send up telemetry for our streaming pipelines in order to basically get a kind of view of, okay, what is this computer doing? What is it running? What is it connecting to? Is it running an outdated piece of this software? And essentially what our streaming pipelines is, it's not just like a relay, like a baton passed down the road. We're legitimately doing detections and like smart stateful processing in the cloud on this telemetry, and all that processing, it combines all this different telemetry into events that give administrators for these businesses all sorts of tools to, again, get an idea of what's going on their machines. If there is a breach, what machines it's affected and how they can contain it. And yeah.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much for that. So next question, maybe for, I don't know, whoever wants it, I guess. Describe what teams there are at Cisco. And yeah, what are some interesting things that the data team is working on right now?
I can talk a little bit about the different types of teams that we have. And this is where no matter what you're interested in comp sci, there's pretty much a spot for you in the AMP team, because we just have everything. So if you're more interested in, say, infrastructure, how to set things up like that, we have an amazing ops team. If you're interested in writing code that like runs on, you know, your different operating systems, we have our connector team that actually builds the AMP product that's installed in people's machines. If you're more interested in data engineering, there's our team, which is also looking for interns. If you're interested in front end, there's another really amazing UX team. And then if you want to be an all-around full stack developer, there's like, we have a massive portal team that handles the end interface that our admins, that the customer admins will work with. So pretty much everything in the spectrum there.
Super cool. There's a lot of options there. Awesome. So I guess this question is for Richard and Lucas. What's it like to work as an intern and be an intern? And what's it like to work with other interns at Cisco? Just talk about your experience as an intern. I said intern like 6 times there.
If you guys didn't catch, I'm an intern. No.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not so sure about that.
So certainly there's multiple parts here. I'm just taking a look at our little cheat sheet document. I'll speak to at least the day-to-day experience from it. So on the day-to-day side, as an intern, I'm treated like a regular full-time employee. Basically, boots on the ground, get running there. Thankfully, my team is also extremely understanding, and we are extremely open to the whole idea of everybody is on the same team here. Everyone works together. And that means that everybody gets to go and ask lots of questions, me in particular. So you'd see me spamming my group chat, like, what is this? What is this? I have no clue what's going on. And yeah, as I said, there's a fire hose of data coming in. There's a fire hose of knowledge that's coming in every single day for me. So basically, I got to go and learn a whole bunch of things. Like you get to go and learn, like, what is Kafka? You get to learn what is Mongo? What are Cassandra databases here? How do you go deal with big data? And a lot of stuff that gets coming in. Thankfully, you got an extremely strong team. You got some people who really are out there to go and support you. And I'm super grateful for that, because I know that interns are nowhere close to the quality of a full-time worker here, but they actually make a lot of the room and space here to go and let you grow and discover these kind of things. And everyone has to start from somewhere. And so Cisco is like fantastic at is in taking me in. They give me real jobs. They give me real things to do. It's the same things that my fellow QA engineers are responsible for doing, but they are really, really great at helping me out and getting through that process.
I can add on to that. a little bit. Really want to emphasize that we're basically doing the same work as a full-time employee would, and that's really awesome. Like even like just weeks into my internship, I was already assigned tasks for like that were for our main projects that we were doing there, which is awesome. I was kind of worried going into internships because I hadn't done anything like that before, that I just like throw you on an intern project, go have fun, play with your toys. But no, it's really awesome that we get to be involved, and we have stand-ups and meetings with all of our other members of our team. We have like at this point like over 20 members on our team at this point between dev and QA. And yeah, another thing is Richard said that we've had chances to learn a lot, and that's really important. So not only do we have this awesome team where we can ask tons of questions, but we also have a lot of resources that Cisco offers us and gives us time in order to go and take courses for these technologies in order to learn them and use them in our job. So whether that's video courses online or whether we need books in order to read them and learn it. I've learned again about Kafka, about Flink, Spark, Glue, all these different big data technologies that have really helped me and given me a better idea of, okay, how can we handle this much data and not get absolutely destroyed?
Lucas, you want more projects? I can give you more projects.
Tempting. Awesome. So I have a question for. Oh, sorry, Trey, continue.
I was just saying you dug a little bit of a hole for yourself there, Lucas.
Yeah. No, there is so much. There's so much sprawl in terms of like the technologies that we use. It's absolutely crazy. There's so much to learn, and everyone on the team has their own like little specialty of what they work on, what they're best on. But honestly, I spent like a couple months working on one thing, then a couple months working on another. It's really nonstop. It's like
it must be really fun, just like trying new things every now and then. And yeah, from what I can hear, like it sounds that your team has a really nice dynamic. So that's really nice.
It does not go stale, that's a promise.
Yeah, that's always appreciated.
Quick question. So is Cisco generally pretty strict on interns being current students? Or could you be like a new grad out of CS? Like, so I'm like a mechanical engineer, but I've been coding for a bit at work and learning CS stuff on my own. And just like, but I don't know what you guys are necessarily looking for.
Let's see. I think that's a question for Lisa.
Yes, that actually kind of segues perfectly into our next question, which is what does Cisco look for in its potential employees?
Well, to answer your question, there, DV, is it DV?
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We do hire new university grads as well. We have a university program as well for not just interns, but also new grads. So there's definitely opportunities there for sure.
Okay. I assume from that, like normally preference is given to like previous interns or CS graduates over non-CS. Is that been your experience too?
What do you think, Maxine? Like,
I would say I have zero preference in terms of what your actual major is. It's how you do in the interview.
Okay, cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah, and they're actually looking for more diverse ways to hire students now and new talent, as opposed to just going to the universities and getting people that have had like computer science degrees. You know, they're looking for different ways to get different types of talent now, just with the climate of diversity, equity, and inclusion. That way we can invite more people to have opportunities within Cisco. So that's a big thing that they've actually focused on as of late. So there'll be more opportunities definitely coming that way.
That's good to hear.
I'll also add too, so when I'm looking at candidates and I actually meet them, one of the things I prize the most is their curiosity in the field. Maybe you're not in comp sci, but you live and breathe code. That's way more important to me than what program you're in.
For sure. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I will look on the careers page.
Awesome. Cool. So, question, I guess, for anyone who feels up for it. Maybe I'll ask Lisa first for this one. What makes working at Cisco special versus any other company that someone would want to work for?
Well, like I said, the culture is really special, especially within our group that we work in with AMP and SP&R as a whole, in our security business group. People are very supportive of one another, and like both of our interns just have said, they want to see people that are willing to learn and want to take on new things. It's not about your degree, like Maxine just said. It's about wanting to continuously learn. So yeah, there is a very inclusive culture, I would say, kind of, and I would even say there's still a bit of a startup feel, like even though it's a large company, it still very much has like a startup culture feel where it's like, yes, it's a big, 70,000 plus, Cisco is 70,000 plus employees, but we have our own little subculture within that. And obviously it's different now because we're not in the office, but we've done a lot of different virtual ways to stay connected, and the intern program has specific experiences like that too. So yeah, I'd say the culture is a big piece for sure.
I'll also add that compared to some of the one of the internships I did, Lucas and Richard are full-fledged members of the team. They have just as much say as anybody else. And they're completely free to call us out when we're doing something bad. Like, I think Lucas just did last week, and he gave me a very good, very legit critique on an engineering practice that we were not doing, and it's awesome.
That's incredible that you guys have that kind of like transparency between each other, even as interns, where you can like, hey, we can do this better, because obviously that's better for the entire team. If someone points something out, it doesn't really matter what position they are. If they know something better, then so that's awesome. It's really, really great.
Absolutely.
Especially in software engineering, where once you do something, you're stuck maintaining it, and if you deploy it to production,
yes. Gotta do it right.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that I think on my very first day, they told me, if you see us doing something wrong, tell me about it. We want to know. So it's not about pride. You park your ego at the door and you walk in there, and you really are a team player from the moment you go in there. And everybody is, the team player that really goes in and supports you as well. I kind of see this entire thing growing in the entire, or on two ends of the spectrum. On the small end, when I'm working with my teammates every single day, it's, yeah, I want to make some time to go and have a discussion, figure out what's going on. Yes, I want to go and hear your opinions. Yes, I do want to get some reviews on this, make sure that everybody works cohesively. And yeah, I want to hear about ways that we can improve it, make everything else strong. And I think that this has been propagated through the entire company as a whole, 70,000 people. And I noticed that one interesting aspect is that our CEO, who is all the way down in California, he checks in with us maybe every month or so. He holds a video broadcast, kind of like what we're doing right now, where he actually just has chats with every single employee out there. Of course, it is facilitated and all, but you can actually tell he cares, and he's talking about relevant conversations. So it's like, hey, I know like US elections are coming up, and that's important to a lot of us folks here. Or it's like, hey, like Black Lives Matter movement come back from July. This is so important that we're going to go and dedicate, actually like take a day off and tell everyone to go and actually embrace their heritage over there. And it's kind of a mission that pushes itself super far. And you can kind of tell like the employees kind of come first here. It's not about trying to go and meet the deadline. It's not about trying to go and make the most profits. It is really try to go and support, make the best workplace possible. And I'm pretty sure that's probably written somewhere in their mission statement of who Cisco wants to be first.
That's amazing. I mean, I'm looking at the cheat sheet here, and it says 22 years in a row, Cisco has made it to the world's best place to work list, which is pretty insane. That's really incredible. So obviously they're doing something very right. Cool. Great. So I think we already discussed a bit of what it's like to be an intern at Cisco. I mean, clearly you guys have a lot of independence, you have a lot to say. So I wanted to just ask you guys, what was the application process like for you? I mean, I know you both said you got the internships through a hackathon, so I'm just curious what that was like. I guess, Lucas, let's hear from you.
There you go. So Maxine actually came and did a presentation in my, I think it was the analysis of algorithms class. And that was kind of my first introduction to her and her team and what they do as far as like data processing. And then after that, because I liked that so much, I went to the career fair that they were kind of holding as like a little side bit of the hackathon. And I handed in my resume there, but really what I did after that was I took some of the technologies that I use that they kind of showed in the presentation, and I made a short little project. I didn't do it as part of the main hackathon because I wasn't able to be in Kelowna that day. But I ended up hosting the project online, and I sent an email to Maxine with the project link. I'm not sure how much of that actually affected anything, but I ended up getting a phone interview after sending my resume in, and another longer technical interview after that. And yeah, and I ended up getting this internship. It was really awesome. And I think the timeline of the internship was really interesting because it was like I got my offer in like mid to late February. So it was right before or right as COVID was really hitting the news cycle. So originally I was going to go to Calgary, but for the 16 months. But since that changed, I've done the entire internship remote here from Vernon, and props to Cisco. It's been awesome. There was never really any doubt in their communication, like, here, we'll send you a laptop, we'll get this going, right? And it's been great working from home. It's great. It's a field that works really well with remote working.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Because like I know that there are a lot of companies, big and small, that have just either downsized their internship programs dramatically or shuttered them entirely. I mean, I know I straight up lost a position because of the pandemic. So it's really amazing that Cisco actually still kept things going. That's really great. Cool.
We're back.
Richard,
we're growing.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
Richard, did you want to add anything, or do you think that
my experience? Well? I think that the one thing I could tell to you, everyone else who's listening right now, is the networking that came with it. Because as I mentioned before, I was doing the hackathon. I scored fairly well in that hackathon, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend this time chatting straight to Maxine and the rest of the team who was there as the judges for my Calgary hackathon. And because of it, I gave my elevator pitch. I told them all about me, the projects I'm involved with, and tell them about my passions. And because of that, I also just put myself in the right spot, right time. And I heard it's like, oh yeah, you guys are looking for internships. I'm interested in applying for it as well. And I got to actually go and skip the phone interview, which is traditionally phone interview, then the larger technical interview. Came back in for the technical interview for it. And it spans a couple of things. You get your behavioral questions. So it's like, who are you? And it's like, how do you work as a team player? All these kind of things. And then it also came down to the technical interview questions. I'm lucky because of my weird dual degree, I'd taken one class on big data. That was the thing that got me super fascinated with all this stuff in the first place. And in the big data class, I recognized, hey, this problem they're asking me is like, how do you handle this large influx of data? I can actually go and kind of work out an algorithm. Fun fact, I did not get the thing right. I screwed up the language of my choice, I'm mostly like a JavaScript programmer, but I decided to go do Python on that interview, which is kind of a strange decision for me because I'm not a power user in Python. But it worked out for me. Ironically enough, I was unable to go and work it out for like the 1,000 entries that they gave me. And I only did it with a subset of 3, but I was able to demonstrate, hey, I'm able to think fast on my feet. I can go and answer questions on the fly here, and I can improvise when things don't go my way. And I did not get a perfect score on that interview, but here I am today. So I think that it kind of speaks volumes to go do networking, definitely talk to everyone, and get ready to have a decent, solid conversation with them. It's not literally, hey, I'm doing exactly this, and this, but make a connection. Tell them why you're valuable to them and why they care and why you're interested in them as well. And then on the other hand, be good, get creative, think fast, and don't worry if you're not the perfect programmer on the spot. Nobody here knows when you have to add the semicolon or when you're missing that squiggly bracket here. The important part is that you're able to think through these things.
Yeah. I can add an interview tip here. A lot of this is about the interviewers getting to know your thought process. So even if, like, I mean, I don't care if you can remember the API of whatever language you choose to use, but what I care about is, can you think through the problem, and can you tell us how you're thinking through the problem?
I have a question. So I'd want to know, these are very good tips concerning interviews, but then what would be your advice as to landing an interview in the first place? How would a candidate have to present themselves in the application process and all that, just from your experience?
Great question. Yeah, I actually struggled with this when I was hunting around for my internship at first. And I discovered it's like, if you print out the exact same resume with the exact same cover letter and send it off to like 50 different companies, you get about this many responses. I struggled for a while, and I discovered it's like, okay, perhaps the issue is that I'm not being sincere with it. I go and talk with my friends. I have them review my process, and yeah, they shred my cover letter to bit. They told me, it's like, this is what's wrong with your resume here, 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 and here. And take that constructive feedback, work on it. Again, park the ego at the door. Once you get that aside and you actually start thinking about, why do people like Cisco care? Why do they want to hear from a student like you and me? Then you actually start getting genuine, and being genuine is the very first step to actually getting something meaningful. So I spent the time, I took them. It only takes maybe an hour to sit down and type out a cover letter. I mean, if you're hunting for a job, you can spend at least 1 hour for a company that you want to go and spend the next 16 months at, maybe the rest of your life at, depending on who you are. So sit down, take the effort to think that through, type out something genuine. So don't fluff it up. Don't say that I'm a master at making games in C# when I never programmed in C# before. Speak to your strengths on it, and speak to why they should care back to you as well. So I'm not just the master, best programmer in the world. They don't need to hear about me bragging. What they care about is that I'm able to think. I have shown that I'm working on teams, and that I'm also passionate about them. I'm curious to learn. I'm really interested in big data. That is something genuine. That's something true. Put these kind of stories into there. Make something that's relevant back to them, and that's really greatly increases your chances of hearing back from them.
And I can't overstate the importance of networking. Like, cold applying is, you know, you can do that, but your chances, even if you customize it really well, it's a bit of a crapshoot. So if you can attend a hackathon like this one and actually talk to people and network and go to career fairs, that is going to increase your chances dramatically.
I can give a little bit of a different angle from what Richard was talking about. I think if I go back and look at like my CV and like resume at the time that I was applying for this internship, I think I can thoroughly say that they were like garbage. But but what really helped me like separate myself, helped me get an interview, was talking to Maxine at the hackathon, showing interest in the presentations that they were given, taking like one of the things they said in the presentation, making a little project about it, right? And showing that kind of interest. And in addition, and another thing that helped me was random stuff like the Game Boy programming on my GitHub, right? It's even if you don't have something that any like code that directly applies to, like, I didn't have anything related to big data on my GitHub, right? But you don't need anything that's like specific to that, as long as they show, okay, well, you're a smart person, you can problem solve. And that's again what these interviews are about, is showing your thought process, all that stuff.
Those are some really, really great tips, and I think people will find it really helpful. But if at the top of your head, if you could think of some like really dumb things that people put on their resume and CV, and like something like which is like a deal breaker, you're like, nope, this person's not getting in. So if at the top of your head you can think of some things that we must avoid, and go over that.
I would assume Richard's point of not overstating your skill level is probably pretty important, because you wouldn't want to end up in an interview and then be like, I am a C# expert. And then it's like, okay, do something in C#. And you're just like,
Yeah, I am basically God.
In your interview, they'll do a little bit of checking of your resume, and they'll ask you about stuff on your resume. And if you didn't, if you fluffed it up, you're probably gonna get a little caught out, right? It's that's probably the biggest thing, is be honest about it.
Yeah,
so true, so true. You got to be honest. You got to make strong connections with it. And I think that even if you, or let's say that, for example, oh no, I'm on my first programming language, I only know maybe Java, for example, here. And yeah, I'm obviously not going to lie about a different language. That's stupid. But maybe I'm going to say, like, I've done enough Java. Well, it's okay to say that you're not an expert of it. You're not going to, don't call yourself a 4-year industry expert of it if you are only been casually poking it for just 4 years. Say that you're encouraged or you're invested and interested in learning Java. You do have the passion to make yourself grow, because at the end of the day, it doesn't even matter which programming language you put down. My day job, I work with Ruby. I never touched Ruby in my life before I even started at Cisco, but right now it's one of my favorite languages.
Awesome.
I'm gonna add one extra red flag to watch for. So GitHubs, if you have links to your GitHub repo on your resume, that is awesome. I will totally go through and look at your code. And then a red flag from that is if you have credentials in your GitHub repo.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's a good point. Like
okay,
API keys and
I
whatnot.
think this segues really well into a Richard story here.
Okay, I guess it's time for our Richard story. So I teased it for now. I said that in a hackathon, I got hacked. I got a Twilio phone integration set up by my teammates. I was setting up an Amazon Alexa app, and we were trying to go and merge these things together. And Twilio, you have to pay for if you want to get phone calls and phone numbers and stuff like that. They gave us $15 free credits. And this hackathon is due at exactly, I believe, 12 o'clock or 12:30. That submission deadline is hard. And we were working all night, overnight, working on this project. And maybe around 11 o'clock, so literally the 11th hour before that, we discover something. It's like our application, which takes maybe 1 or 2 seconds to process a phone call, send it across. It's taking an entire minute now. That's a little bit concerning. So we're taking a look and trying to figure out, why is this link so slow? We're trying to film our video and get it up and out the door, but something's wrong. So we're investigating, and then it dawns on us a conversation that we had several hours ago. It's like, oh yeah, GitHub gave me a warning that I put my credentials online. and my teammate was like, yeah, it's only 12 hours. What harm could be done from there? And one 40-hour phone bill racked up later in just 12 hours, you discover what goes wrong. That thing got scraped immediately. And we were not getting rate limited by Twilio. We're not getting rate limited by the spammer or the person who stole our credentials online. We're getting rate limited by every single angry person out there, the 1,700 different people who were texting back saying, stop asking for my Netflix password. Don't tell me to go and click on this link. You're obviously scamming me. Stop asking, or I'm going to report you to the cops. And I'm thinking, I'm so sleep deprived at this hour. I've just been working on this link, and I don't want to be reported to the cops. What is going on? Lesson learned: never put your credentials on public. I told that story to Maxine. I told that story to everyone who was judging there. And I think it was a hilarious time. And it was a lesson well learned. I mean, for $25 to go and properly learn, $40 minus 15. Yeah,
And
I think
that's a mistake he's not making again.
Don't ever get hacked at a hackathon for something as dumb as that. 99% of all hacking incidences are completely avoidable, and it's mostly the humans at the fault first, not the machines here. So yes, just use your brain before you do something silly like that.
The magic of .env files.
I love the irony that I'm on a security company now, of all things, after that incident.
I love that. I mean, to me, that just shows you how, you can goof
Anything can
and
happen.
it doesn't, it doesn't matter. You can still succeed. That's amazing.
I
I mean, that reminds me of a project I did a couple months ago where I also had accidentally put our API keys online. That was fun, just trying to like remove it from the internet. And this was also like, this was a test base, but we were building a software product for a nonprofit. So we really could not have, and this is also a nonprofit based in the UK. And they have the EU is very, or EU, UK, whatever. They have very strict privacy guidelines. I think it's called GDPR or something like that. Anyhow, that would have been really bad. So yeah, word of advice, please use .env files, go hide your API keys and yeah, learn from us. But cool, super cool. All right, on to the next question. Richard, I'm just gonna ask you again. How do you get an idea for a product, and how does that go from an idea to a concept to a finished product that they can put in front of a customer?
So I can speak on two levels for this. There's one that comes from on the Cisco level. I can't speak high volumes on this because this is where we actually have people like Lisa, or we actually go and get a sales team out there, relations that actually go out and communicate these things. But given that I am also doing a business degree as well, I do get a little bit of training on this. And the very first thing I got to emphasize, and this applies, I'm sorry if I stereotype people out here, but this really applies to programmers. Don't think about the how, don't think about the what you're solving. So think about two things, the who and the why you're solving these kind of questions out there. So at least the problems that I was solving, and these were relevant just for like even my hackathon when I'm just trying to plan out ideas. Who am I trying to build this app for? Okay, I'm trying to go and build this application for, or for me, it's like trying to make something that's friendly for restaurants in a COVID season. Those are my who. I have somebody in mind that I want to solve a problem for. They're hurting with local businesses. Why? Why are they hurting? And what, or is the other part? It's like, why are they having struggles? Because they aren't getting people around them. They are having issues connecting to other people. And I think this philosophy is really well trained up on other levels as well. And so it becomes the who are you trying to solve the problem for? In like Cisco, it's okay, we got all our clients out there, and maybe like one project we built in, for example, is that we need to go and demonstrate information to them. Why do they care that we give them a live demo? Because they don't want to be actually infected, or they want to know how to use our very sophisticated software. And that's the pieces that you need to go and demonstrate. So start with the why, figure out who that why is solving for. After you solve those questions, that becomes the next step. Then you start talking about what are you going to do? Not how, what are you going to do? So you start brainstorming some different solutions here. And you say, okay, so for example, maybe for our demo project here, we can go and, for example, go and put in some different, or like some live code examples, or maybe we could take some historic old code. So from an example like WannaCry, that his virus that wiped us out several years ago. Now we can start pitching in different ideas. It's like, okay, finally, when you had a lot of conversation with, which is a mix between these, the requirements team and your actual engineers on the floor who know the system, you establish what is going on. Finally, after you establish the what, now you can start working on the how process. And this is the part that software engineers are probably more familiar with. This is where you actually start figuring out, it's like, okay, what services do I need to go and connect? What languages do I want to establish? Do I need to go and create some different network protocols, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. And finally, you start building onto that layer there. So again, requirements is, I talk to my friends and they think it's the most dull class, but I also stress it's one of the most important classes out there. Learn who you're solving the problem for, what problems you think, or why are they having these problems? What can you do for them? And then afterwards, you finally start talking about what designs do you want to do? And then how is the actual getting down and doing the programming about it. So yes, that is me going to pushing in my little business talk into my software side. And funny enough, at University of Calgary, there's a huge rivalry between the engineers and the business students.
Yeah, hey, that advice.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that advice would have helped me a lot in like the first like month or so of this internship on like one of my first projects. I think one of my biggest mistakes was not asking for more about the requirements. I feel like I should have taken like a whole day just to do requirements gathering. And you can be sure now that if I get a project now, I'm going to do that a lot more. Right.
For sure. Better deal with the problem now than 3 months down the line when it's about to ship, and you're like, oh well, okay, I got a bug. Super cool. All right. I have a question for Lisa, actually. What does the business operations side look like when you're doing that for Cisco?
Sure, yeah. So I work with a team of about, we're probably 15 people now, and it's broken out into 4 pillars. So our business operations include the run the business, which is essentially the people that are organizing these like fireside chats, for example, with our leads that we do quarterly. Usually we're starting to do them now more often because of the virtual world that we're in. So we have a team that do that kind of organization of different events. And then we have the finance pillar, which is obviously a very important pillar within our business group. So, you know, something like this, like what if we're going to sponsor an event like this hackathon kind of thing, we'd go to our finance team to make sure that we have funding for things like this. So they can help with funding and making sure we have everything done properly with their sponsorship. And then we have a design team. So because Cisco, it's branded, right? So we have to stick with the brand. So we have a design team that puts together like all of our presentations to make sure that we're using the same, you know, font and color and things like this. So within SP&R, we're actually building out our brand right now. We just actually got a new logo. So they've been working on that. And then the last pillar is people and culture, which is the pillar that I work in with one other person. And again, it's like these initiatives for recruiting, all kinds of different things. So if you're a new hire, we do like a new hire presentation to kind of explain the culture within SP&R, which is our larger group, and then also about the teams that you've joined, because within SP&R there's quite a few teams underneath that umbrella. So then we can outline like what that looks like and then how it fits into like greater Cisco. So we provide kind of that experience for our new hires, and then we're also just a point of contact for all kinds of different DEI initiatives. So our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives that we have going on, all kinds of different things fall under people culture, probably all the things that you have in your mind. We kind of do a little bit of it all. So it's never the same every day, that's for sure. So it's a really good sector to work in as well.
Super cool. So it sounds like Cisco is an incredible place to work, no matter what field you come from.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah.
Great. Well, I believe with that concludes the structured questions that we had for our Cisco guests. So if anyone wants to, we're going to open the floor to audience questions. So if anyone has any specific questions for any of the Cisco folks, by all means, go ahead and ask. I'll be more than happy to help out. Hopefully I was audible there because I have a little mute symbol by me.
Sounded good on my end.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Like next to like a little connection icon, there was like a mute symbol, but my actual mute button was on, so I don't know what was up with that.
Zoom is strange.
Yeah, it could be a little weird, but hey, it's all good. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all that information, guys. There's a lot of really cool stuff to learn about. So, I mean, I know I learned a lot, and I'm just watching.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
For everyone who's a hacker, after this we'll be airing a quick video by our Echo AR sponsor, which will just cover their own platform that they've given everyone in the hackathon free access to. So yeah, just keep an eye on the stream for that, and you'll get some more details. And that link will also be posted in the Discord and in the Notion, so you can always access that. And this recording as well will be uploaded to YouTube and be accessible. So yeah. I think you can probably stop the recording now.